Republican race for the White House now heads to the home state of House Speaker Paul Ryan. With the Wisconsin primary on April 5th, 42 delegates at stake there. This rough and tumble campaign putting Ryan in the spotlight as Donald Trump and members of the GOP establishment battle over the future of the party. Let's talk about it with our political panel. Harlan Hill is a Democratic strategist and political consultant. Evan Siegfried is a GOP strategist and the president of Some Consulting. Evan, first of all, last week we had that speech from Paul Ryan. He decried the state of American politics, says it doesn't need to be as nasty as it is. The very next day, he didn't mention Donald Trump by name. Very next day, Trump schedules a campaign stop, a rally in Janesville, Wisconsin, not only in his home state, but in his hometown.
What are the chances of that? I mean, listen, we're seeing a battle for the heart and soul of the Republican Party. Right now, Paul Ryan is saying we can move forward as a Republican Party by having a battle of ideas and intellect and talking about our conservative issues. Whereas Donald Trump is going out and saying the future of the Republican Party lies in insults, misogyny, xenophobia, and almost nativism, and things that might not represent the party.
But it's working for him.
He's not gotten over 50% of the vote. 60% of Republicans are rejecting him flatly, and you're seeing the race actually tighten now in Wisconsin, where Ted Cruz has 30 points to Donald Trump's 32. It's a statistical time.
I disagree with Evan's premise here, that Donald Trump is only focused on derision and driving wedges between people. I think that he has recognized something that no other candidate aside from Bernie Sanders has realized, which is that the American people have had enough, and the establishment hasn't recognized the pain that exists outside of the Acela corridor. That there is real pain. People don't have jobs. They're graduating from school with $250,000 in debt, and they can't find jobs. Seniors can't pay for meds. They can't afford to retire even. Things are bad out there, and Donald Trump is speaking to that. Whereas a candidate like Ted Cruz, it seems like he's really focused more on the past, and a candidate like a speaker like Paul Ryan isn't really addressing these issues full sail.
Well, you sound like a Trump consultant, not a Democratic consultant.
There's a lot of overlap between a candidate like Donald Trump and a candidate like Bernie Sanders. And I would say that most Bernie Sanders supporters aren't socialists. They're people that either don't have jobs or they feel disenfranchised in the current political environment. There's a lot of overlap between these two candidites, despite what the media wants to say.
Positive numbers. He's got the best positive numbers throughout the entire campaign. Whereas look at Trump with women. 70% of women hate Donald Trump because of his
antics and his misogyny. This is a problem for him.
That's not speaking about the anger. That's going out and attacking women.
If we're focused exclusively on the issues, there's a lot of overlap between these two candidates. And in terms of their messaging and style, they could not be more different. I'll give you that.
There was a piece in the Wall Street Journal recently which made this observation. With Mr. Ryan's home state of Wisconsin set to hold the next primary, the unorthodox from the gut campaign of Donald Trump is setting a tone and advancing an agenda that is a far cry from the cerebral conservative brand of politics that has fueled Mr. Ryan's rise to the top of the party. The two men personify the fork in the road the GOP now faces, and will be spotlighted when the celebrity businessman travels to Mr. Ryan's hometown of Janesville on Tuesday to hold a rally in advance of Wisconsin's April 5th primary. Do you agree with that premise that this is the fork in the road for the GOP?
Well, the fork in the road, we've already come to it. It's just being recognized now. Right now, you are seeing that whenever Donald Trump is pushed to give detail and actually show he understands an issue, he just sort of panders around and ping-pongs his, he talks about how nice an editorial board looks, and he doesn't say anything of substance. Whereas Paul Ryan goes out and actually says, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and here's how, and he gives incredibly detailed plans, and that advances conservatism. Not insults, and not just messing around with words because you can't think of anything to say.
I disagree with that. He's gotten specific on some issues that are really core. For instance, he's made immigration both an economic issue and an issue of national security, and he's been very specific on that and how how trade has impacted the middle class, while simultaneously this flood of low-cost labor from Mexico and elsewhere is really hurting low-cost and middle.
So his solution is just to build a wall when % of all people who are here illegally actually.
It's not just building a wall. It's also deporting people that have overstayed their visa.
Well, he said he's going to deport everybody on day one. That's not feasible either.
Oh, that's rhetorical. Once again, we're getting back to style instead of the substance. Yeah.
We're going to hear the substance on Tuesday when he makes that speech in Janesville. I imagine you'll hear it live here on Fox. Just guessing. Harlan Hill, Evan Siegfried, thank you both. Heather.
spirited conversation.